Marion Berry, the Mayor, the Man. Monday at 5:30 and 11.
We're talking goals on tip-off today. Dreams of playing in the NBA. The Bullets' Tom Hammond is already there. Michael Smith of Dunbar would like to be in 5 years. We'll talk with both players. A last-second shot in our game of the week. Did it go? And Morgan Wooten tells you how to get off your best shot, and we'll find out who's on top in the polls. It's time for tip-off.
McDonald's presents Morgan Wooten's Tip-Off with Tony Martinez.
Good afternoon and welcome to Tip-Off. I'm Tony Martinez with Coach Morgan Wooten. We were just talking about the fact that this is February. This is the time when high school basketball really gears up. In the NBA, you have April. College basketball, you have March Madness, and this is the time, the next couple of weeks, when all the races are going to be decided, isn't it?
High school basketball, this is the big month because people are jockeying for position. Will they get the Cole Fieldhouse if you're in the Metro League or High? That's what you're trying to do. If you're in Virginia or Maryland, you're trying to get in the right spot, try to get to the state championship playoff. This is crunch time for the high schools.
And because of that, there are some upsets this time of the year, aren't there?
There are upsets, Tony, for many reasons. I think one reason is you have a team that might be just a little bit in front, and they'll start playing not to lose. And when you play that way, you're going to get beat. Other teams will start to play loose. They'll play to win, and all of a sudden they'll say, hey, that team's playing real good now at tournament time. And there's some teams that are playing pretty good in the area.
Well, one of the teams that was playing great is Churchill. Churchill coming off an upset last week over, who did they play last week? Springbrook. Then they faced Seneca Valley this last week, and that is our game of the week. Watch this. The Winston Churchill Bulldogs made a mistake in our game of the week that their namesake never made. Underestimate the competition. Playing against Seneca Valley, Churchill, off to its best start in 5 years, takes an early lead on plays like this by Jeff Winter. Seneca Valley, though, has little Darnell Taylor. His jump shot giving the Screaming Eagles a glimmer of hope, down by only 1 at the half. Bulldog coach Paul Foringer pinpointing the problem right away.
We had a tough time all night trying to get the ball in bounds half the time. That was a very smart move because we came into the game, I think, feeling like we had beaten them by 17 the last time we played them, and I think the kids were thinking about that, oh, okay, well, this is going to be an easy ride tonight, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, these guys are all over us.
Trailing by 3 with 2 minutes to play, the Dogs turn the ball over. Darnell Taylor with a steal. Dan Eisman scores to make it a 1-point game. 43-42 Churchill with 1:31 to play. Then the Eagles press the inbounds pass. Churchill has 10 seconds to get the ball across midcourt. Can they do it? Seneca Valley takes the air out of the ball and goes for a final shot. With 5 seconds to play, Taylor takes it, but it's off. Churchill, though, touches it last, and a single tick remains on the clock. Watch what happens. Taylor talks with us afterward about what he was thinking in that moment of truth.
Just to try to get the other guy, J.C. Lee, open for his three-pointer or two-pointer, whatever, but he passed it to me, and I just threw it up, and it went in.
Yeah, this is a great win for us. Churchill's been the best team in Montgomery County for the last month, coming off a big win. They beat Springbrook on the other night, and we lost to Springbrook by Churchill by 17 the other night, and we might have caught them a little off guard tonight.
I think this is a first. Nah, I'm not real good under pressure, but hey, we'll take it.
45-43. Congratulations to Seneca Valley, our team of the week. But let me ask you now, Coach, can the teams from suburban Virginia and suburban Maryland, can they play with the teams in the city?
10 years ago, the answer would have been they weren't as good. The answer today is they're just as good. It's flip a coin. And by the way, Seneca Valley, our team of the week, they're going to be the guests of McDonald's along with their coaching staff. They all go for a real nice free lunch.
A lot of kids from that school, from all the schools, may want to get in our scholarship contest. Now, our deadline for the contest is February 28th, so get your applications in. They should be at your school this week. Now, who qualifies for this contest? Well, just about anybody. Here are some of the qualifications you need to have. How about academic standing, that you're a positive role model, and community service and citizenship. Now, we're not talking small prize here. First prize is $1,000, and there are 2 second prize scholarships valued at $500 each from McDonald's. You can send your applications right here to me at WJLA TV, Box 311, Washington, D.C., 20044. We're going to have a committee pick the finalists and the winners, and I'm just glad I'm not on that committee.
Tony, I am too, but I'll tell you, it's a group of distinguished educators who will make the call. And a young man who could be a real candidate is one of the greatest players in the nation, Michael Smith of Dunbar. Don't go away, because he'll be with us as soon as we come back.
I'm Michael Jordan. McDonald's restaurants have given me this time to talk to you about something we both really care about, kids. Kids are the reason McDonald's sponsors their Get It Straight program, a national drug awareness effort. Think about this. Many of you using drugs out there now are under 18. Do you realize that at 18, you have lived only 1/4 of your life? When you're using drugs, you're only cheating yourself out of the chance to find out who you really can be. And believe me, if you don't use drugs, you can just about be anything you want to be. Listen, you got at least 3/4 of your life to go. That's 3 more lifetimes to you. So don't blow it. Don't do drugs. If you're doing it, stop it. Get some help. McDonald's wants you to give yourself a chance to find out all the wonderful things you really can be. And so do I.
Congratulations to our youth team of the week, the Reston Seahawks. Coach Trimasa has done a great job over there. They're leading the league. And this Reston youth organization is something else. They have over 800 boys and girls playing, mostly all volunteer coaches, and they help produce great, great players. Speaking of great players, we promised that we were going to introduce you to one of them. From Dunbar High School, we have Michael Smith, one of the greatest in the nation. Take a look at him in action right now.
It is in half-lit, mostly empty gyms like this one at Wilson High, where childlike dreams are suddenly transformed into man-made reality. It is here where Michael Smith continues preparing for prime time, for that inevitable day when his is a household name. Smith, you see, is the center of a very talented Dunbar team. Look at this kid under the basket, or above it, and you will see why Dunbar has a good chance of repeating as city champions. This week, Smith, playing only a half against Wilson, scored 21 points in a lopsided game. For the year, he's averaging 22.5 points a game and just over 13 boards. His coach is McCleese.
Michael is a typical 17-year-old youth. He's a boy in a man's body, 6'8", 215, but he's a good kid to be around, laughs a lot, all the guys like him. He does not have the big head, and he's a very coachable young man.
Smith, who's been raised by his mother, lives in the shadow of Howard University. This fall, though, Providence will be his home for the next 4 years. But before he starts thinking about college, Dunbar would like to repeat as city champs. And this team has the players to do it, with shooting like this, passing like that. Dunbar fans have plenty to cheer about.
Well, we sure would like to win it. The only other D.C. public school team that has done that was about 30-some years ago, and that was Cardozo under Coach Frank Bolden, and hopefully we can get back to Cofield House and repeat as city champions.
And Michael Smith joins us now. Mike, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Now, you've already committed to Providence, right?
Yes.
Tell us why you chose the Friars.
Because I like the coach and I like the type of running game they run, the defense, and the fast breaks.
They play that running shoe. You like that kind of up and down the court action, huh?
Yes.
Now, there's a lot of talk that you're one of those guys that could easily be a McDonald's All-American. The list will be announced later in the week. What would that mean to you, to be an All-American?
Very proud that I can make it and go on with my goals and all that I can be the best I can.
Well, Michael, you have been the best you can because your team's doing just wonderful. even though you lost Donald Ford. Now, what has the loss of Donald Ford done to your team when he left and went to Harker Prep?
It didn't really hurt us because he only played a half of the season with us.
So you were doing pretty darn good without him last year anyhow.
Yes.
And then on to that great win in the city championship.
Yes.
Now you got a real big one coming up with Cardozo that's probably going to decide it all.
Yes.
How do you feel about that game?
We're just waiting for him to come down in our home territory for then we'll see.
So you lost to him on the road last time. Now you got him coming to your house, right?
Yes.
And ready to press him, and I'm sure do a good job.
Tell me about your decision to train. You transferred to Dunbar. Why did you go ahead and do that?
It was personal problems, and Coach McCleese, he a nice coach, and he had told me to come down there. And he said I fit right along.
Describe your style of play for us. How do you describe the way you play on the court?
Dunks, fast breaks, the defense, the pressure we put on people.
Well, you all do a tremendous job with your pressure defense, and you're at the end of it, which is really something to see. And I know that you're projecting ahead, Mike, even past college. What are your dreams? What are your goals, your hopes, say, when Providence is over?
If I don't make it to pros, I'm majoring in business administration, like in the long run, like to own my own business.
Be a businessman one day,
Yes.
and I'll bet you do a real great job of it. You know, I've watched you all play a couple times, and I see teams sag on you. They're all over you. They're making it tough for you. You get the ball 2 and 3 guys hanging on you. How do you mentally handle that?
Well, we got other outstanding players on our team that I could kick it out to them and open things up in the middle for me.
Well, I think it's that unselfish attitude that has made this young man and this team what they are.
Absolutely. Providence has got a great player. Congratulations, Michael.
Thank you.
Good luck in your college career. I know you're going to have a great career. Well, when we come back on Tip-Off, we're going to talk with the guy that's listed in the Maryland basketball program. They asked Tony Massenberg, who is the best player you've ever faced? His name is Tom Hammond. We're going to talk to him when we come back.
When he heard the news, he left in haste. Didn't want to miss that big, bold taste.
McDonald's Caramels.
It's beef from McDonald's, a quarter pound on a toasted rye bun, but it won't stay around.
McDonald's Caramels.
With cheddar cheese sauce, grilled onions too, it's a big, bold taste, too good to be true.
McDonald's Caramels.
Caramel, for a limited time. To go at McDonald's.
All right now, here's some tunes that have meant a lot to us over the years. Remember when you want a great, tasty McDonald's Big Mac? You said to your mama,
Well, you deserve a break today.
and when you saw your lady eating a beefy quarter pounder with cheese, you'd say,
You're the one.
and then you love it when she'd say,
Together, McDonald's and you.
now we're in the 90s with McDLT we love singing.
The good times, great taste of McDonald's.
Dennis Scott, an outstanding shooter at Georgia Tech, averaging over 20 points a game. He said he's really been helped this year by the fact that he's lost about 20 pounds. It's helped his quickness and his agility. He's the kind of guy that has, I'd say, a Mark Aguirre-type body, but he definitely doesn't have a Mark Aguirre-type attitude. A great attitude on this kid, huh?
Great attitude, hard worker, and just the kind of player you love to coach. And talk about players you love to coach, we have one of Dennis's former teammates here, Tom Hammond, the #1 draft choice of the Washington Bullets, the great All-American from Georgia Tech. Tommy, great to have you here.
Thanks, Coach. I'm glad to be here.
And I remember wasn't too long ago that you were a McDonald's All-American getting ready to go on to college.
Yeah, I was. It was a very exciting point in my life. I've been chosen as a McDonald's All-American. I'm sure a lot of high school seniors really dream about that honor.
And Tommy, what a career at Tech. You were the Rookie of the Year, 4 times All-ACC, every imaginable honor. And then you're 9th player picked in the pro draft, #1 by the Bullets, and you got to start all over again. What it's like?
It's tough. I mean, I really didn't know what to expect coming in as a rookie playing for the Bullets, and it's been tough the first part of the season, but now I think I'm getting the hang of it, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job.
I was up at St. Mary's with you at training camp in your first couple weeks of camp, your first chance to play for Wes Unseld. What is that like, playing for that man?
Well, it's great in that himself and Coach Crimmins are pretty much the same in that they demand a lot from their players. They demand that you
have a good attitude. You work hard always in practice, and that you're very unselfish. And it's pretty much the same as far as Coach Crimmins is concerned.
You know, it's tough, I know, for a guy to go from starring all the time, starting the games and playing, to sitting on the bench and having to have that time sit on the bench. Rookies have such a tough time adjusting to that. What has it been like for you to have to sit there, especially with this team that's struggling so much?
Yeah, it was tough at first, but I mean, I had to learn from the bench. I had to learn from the veteran players. I had to learn from the coaches, and it was tough. I mean, like you said before, I hadn't been used to sitting on the bench, and it was a tough situation for me to be put in. But now that I've learned, I've been starting for the last 8 or 9 games, and I think I've been doing a pretty good job so far.
Been doing a great job, Tommy. And you mentioned that when this season is over, you got some plans to go back to Atlanta this summer. Tell me about them.
I'm going to go back to Atlanta this summer and finish my degree. I'm approximately about 15 hours away from getting my degree. And one thing about that, they retired my jersey this year, and my jersey doesn't officially hang until I get my degree, so I'm going to go ahead and finish that. That's a big priority on my list.
A little bit of a package deal, right?
Yeah, a big package deal.
You're going to get that diploma and have that jersey hanging. That is a great, great honor. What kind of advice would you give to, say, a young man like Michael Smith as he's about to start college?
Well, I just give him the advice, just go in as a freshman and just learn. You'll get a chance to play and just to prove yourself. Get a good education. You can't play basketball all your life. That's one thing that I've took advantage of. You've got to have your priorities in order as far as college is concerned. And that's one thing that I had together.
It's a lot harder now, isn't it, with the new rules for these college students? The guys who are coming out of high school really have to apply themselves a lot more, don't they?
That's true. It's a lot harder. I mean, they've got a lot of added pressure on them. They've got to go out and perform and play basketball, and at the same time, they've got to go to class and make good grades. So it's a lot of pressure on those guys, and I know what they're going through because I've been there before myself.
What was it like in the Georgia Tech program? Because they have very strict study hall requirements for you guys when you were there, didn't they?
Yeah, they have very strict study hall requirements for those who really need it. I really didn't need it too much because I was disciplined enough to go and study when I had to. And but it was tough. Georgia Tech's a very tough school to attend to as far as the academics are concerned. And I made it through almost. I'm going to finish this summer, so I'm looking forward to that.
Let me ask you a couple more questions about the NBA. We talked about the travel. I told you I came back on a plane today, couldn't sleep because I can't sleep on a plane. It's tough, isn't it, making that adjustment to the travel in the NBA? You've been able to do that pretty well, you said.
Yeah, pretty well. I think the main thing as far as traveling in the NBA is as soon as you get on the plane, you find your pillow, you find your blanket, and you're set. I mean, you just go to sleep, and that's one thing that I've adjusted to pretty well.
Got to ask you about John Williams. What's his status? When is he going to get back with the team?
Well, I'm really not sure when he's going to be able to come back to the team yet. He's been working hard and rehabilitating his knee, and I think his progress is coming along pretty good.
Tommy, as you mentioned, you can't play basketball forever. One day they're going to take it away from you. What are your plans after basketball?
Well, I'm getting my degree this summer in industrial management, and if I don't, or when I finish playing basketball, I want to, like Michael said, start my own business and make a living that way.
You grew up in Florida, beautiful weather all the way. Now you've moved to the Washington area. How do you like it?
I like it so far. It's a little colder than I expected, but I'm having a good time. I live out in Columbia, and it's a very small place, what I'm accustomed to living back home in Florida, so I'm having a good time.
Terrific.
Well, Tommy, thank you for being with us. We really appreciate you being here. I know it's tough to get away from your schedule. How are you able to do this?
Well, I mean, it's a pleasure being here on the show, and I just thank you guys for inviting me out.
All right. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Tommy.
Well, when we come back, the coach is going to give us another one of those clinics. He's going to take us to school with his tips, and then we're going to take a look at his poll. So stay with us on Tip-Off. We'll be right back after this.
When Reggie and I agreed to meet for breakfast, I didn't think I needed to say where. It could only be one place. Where else can you get this delicious bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit? So much for him.
I blew it. I knew Kim wanted to meet at McDonald's for breakfast. You can't get this tasty egg McMuffin anywhere else. I just never asked her which McDonald's, and I hate eating alone. Luckily, I ran into a few of my friends.
You're looking good, Reggie.
So who's Kim?
Good time, great taste. Catamounts back, waiting for you, but not for long. It's sad but true. All beef patties like my bun. Cheddar cheese sauce and grilled onions. One more time. Catamounts back, waiting for you, but not for long. It's sad but true. So hurry into McDonald's fast. Cheddar melt's here, but it won't last.
The Cheddar Melt Meal with large fries and large Coke. 3 great tastes, 1 great meal. Get it now at McDonald's.
And again, a tip of the hat to Wendell Bird at South Lakes. This guy getting a lot of attention because he has a great player in Grant Hill, but he's won over 80% of his games overall, and probably no doubt that he has one of the best teams in Northern Virginia. And you say besides that, he does a little double duty too, huh?
Right. Well, he's typical, I think, of all great coaches. He's a great teacher. He teaches at the 2nd grade at Hutchinson Elementary School, and then he goes over and he coaches South Lakes in the afternoon. Great coaches. They've got to be great teachers, and that's what he is.
Yeah, you talk about being a great teacher. This is what one of my favorite parts of the show is the tip segment here, because you talk about this show, good offensive moves. And if you ever played basketball out in the park, you know, you got to get the guy to pass you the ball, and then you got to hit the shot. And you're going to tell us how to get the ball in the right spot and hit that shot, huh?
Right. There are certain fundamental moves that every player must have if he's going to get open, and I don't care what position they play. Let's take a look at what I call the stationary moves. All players love to score in the game of basketball. The way to become a scorer is to learn the basic offensive moves. Today I want to talk about the 2 most important offensive moves, the strong side drive and the crossover. Here we have Duane, who is a left-hander, so he's going to use his right foot as his pivot foot. When he catches the ball, he's down nice and low. He will catch it and take a jab step with his left foot. Now he's in a perfect triple threat position. He's ready to drive, to pass, or to shoot. You always want to be in that position, if at all possible, when you catch the basketball. All right, throw it back to Wayne. Let's take a look at the first basic move, strong side drive. We catch it, take a good jab step, then a long step, and go to the bucket with 1 dribble and score. Let's look at that strong side drive one more time. He only uses 1 dribble, short step, long one, and he goes. This is a basic move that every player must have. His second move is a crossover move. When they overplay his left hand, he's got to have the ability to go right. So now he's going to take a jab step, always takes that. Then he crosses over and goes to the bucket with 1 dribble. Now he has the ability to go both ways. Let's look at the crossover again. Jab, crossover, and with 1 dribble, he takes it strong to the hole. Finally, a defender may get off of Duane because he's driven so successfully. Now he's got to be able to take his jump shot. So he'll take a short jab step. Imagine that the defender gets off, and he'll shoot his jumper. Stand nice and low, jab, and the jump shot. Now to make it realistic, let's bring a defender in. Ted, come on in here. Let's see how it would work with the defender on him. All right, now, Ted is kind of overplaying him on his right hand. So it's going to be a natural thing that Duane will probably go left with a strong side drive. Short, long, and there's your strong side drive, keeping the defender on your back. Now, Ted moves over a little bit on his left hand so the strong side drive won't go. Time for the crossover. A jab, he crosses, and goes strong to the basket. Let's take a look again at how we'll try and close the gap as we go by and get Ted right on our back. Following Ted, right on the back. Finally, Ted says, he's driven on me enough, so when he sees that jab step again, the defender's liable to get off. That's when we stick our jumper. He gets off, time for the jump shot. If you really want to be a good scorer in basketball, you've got to go out on your own and work on these individual moves every day. When you catch the ball, don't put it on the floor. Watch the mistake now. If as soon as Duane catches it, he puts it on the floor, Ted will give him trouble. He starts to put it on the floor right away, and right away, he is in big trouble. So don't make putting the ball on the floor part of catching it. Always catch the ball and square up. Take the jab step and see what the defender is going to do. Now you are not committed, and you saved your dribble as a good weapon. Constant work on these offensive moves will help you to become a good scorer.
Wes Unseld has been telling Mel Turpin for 3 months now, when you get the ball in the low post, don't put it on the floor. Put it back up. Why do some guys seem to want to gather themselves and put it down before just putting the shot up.
Tony, it just seems to be a natural habit. They get the ball, they're not sure what they're going to do. They haven't practiced their offensive moves enough, so what they do is they automatically put it on the floor. The little guys come in and take it away.
Even the pros do that, huh?
Even the pros, all the way up, but it's a bad habit, and you have to drill and drill until they can break it.
When you talk about those offensive moves, one of the ones we always hear about is this guy has a great first step. Can you teach a great first step?
Positively. After you catch the ball square up with that little jab step, the first step is everything. You either win or lose on your first step. And the guy that can really stride out and stay low and put that ball in front of him, he's going to be a winner most of the time. And if you don't have a good first step, you've got problems.
You've got problems. Well, our best teams of the week probably don't have any problems with that first step because you got your polls now, right?
We got the polls, we got the rankings, and let's take a look at them.
All right.
Out in Maryland, we have Bladensburg in the 5th slot under Bob Patterson. They weathered an upset, but they're having a great year. BCC from Montgomery County is 4th. In the 3rd slot, Springbrook. Things are really bunched out there. In the 2nd slot, defending state champions in Maryland, High Point, and number 1 is DeMatha. Over in D.C., a new name breaks into that bottom slot along with Murray, and that is Coolidge. They're on a roll, playing better all the time. They may be a spoiler. In the 4th slot, Carroll. They are really playing well now. In the 3rd slot, Gonzaga, the first half Metro winners. They're on a roll also. Dunbar is in the 2nd slot. They are licking their chops. They're waiting to play number 1, Cardozo, and what a game that should be. In Virginia, in the 5th slot, W.T. Woodson. They're taking turns beating each other out there. In the 4th slot, T.C. Williams. 3rd slot, Wakefield, a team that has really having a good year. In the 2nd slot, perennial power, Flint Hill. And in the 1st slot, a real fine South Lakes team.
We haven't had a chance to talk much about Stu Vetter and Flint Hill, but he's doing another good job this year out there, isn't he?
Stu always has an outstanding team. They travel to tournaments, all over the country. They generally go to Hawaii, and they represent the Washington area in a very good way.
I want to talk again about the scholarship contest. I want you people to make sure you get those applications into Channel 7. Our deadline is going to be February 28th to get those applications in. Remember, the first prize is going to be $1,000. I want to get them in.
Not bad, and hey, 2nd place is okay for $500.
Okay, that's it for this week. We're going to be back again next Sunday at 1:30. We have college basketball coming up next on Channel 7. Until then,
this is Morgan Wooten.
And I'm Tony Martinez. I hope your week is a finger roll for 2. We'll see you next Sunday at 1:30. Bye-bye.
Morgan Wooten's Tip-Off has been brought to you by McDonald's.